All right, welcome to FPL First Live. I'm just going to do a recap of my first, my final draft team for going into game week 2. It's currently the 18th of August. I'm gonna just preparing to go play football today, so I just thought I'd do a quick rundown of my team and why I've selected them. So in goal, I'm sticking with Pickford. Everton have got a pretty good early fixture list this season, so I'm sticking with them. Um, it was in the last week. Everton conceded 2 goals, but it was a bit of a fluke game because Jagielka got sent off, which was controversial. I don't think it was a red card, but anyway, it happened. So obviously, Everton were down to 10 men for a lot of the game. It was a great free kick directly from that red card. So it was a kind of double blow for Everton. But I think they could bounce back this week. They've got Southampton at home. Southampton's a goal threat doesn't look very good right now, even though they did sign Ings from Liverpool, but I still think they're lacking a good striker. So, yeah, that's why I'm going to stick with Pickford in goal. So, with the news of De Bruyne getting injured, I had to kind of revamp my team, and I've been forced into making the free hit this week, unfortunately. And the reason I did that is because I'd already subbed in Kante for Kearney from Fulham before his price change. So what I did is after I found out De Bruyne was injured, I subbed in Bernardo Silva, which freed me up some points. So I took out Trent Alexander-Arnold, put Robertson instead because he was great last week, and I think that he's going to do well this week. I can see Liverpool keeping a clean sheet against Crystal Palace, so I think that's going to get a load of points. Kept with Mendy. As I put in my last video, I'm not going to put him as captain. I don't think it's too risky for any defender to be captain. And the one player which you're probably thinking, why haven't I got on my team, which is Wan-Bissaka, who's actually on my second sub bench. The reason is that they're playing Liverpool, and I think that Liverpool have got too much for them. I'm pretty sure they're going to score, and I think that Wan-Bissaka, he's not going to get the freedom to go forward this week, so I don't think that he's going to pick up anywhere near as many points as he did last week. So I've gone with Daniels in the defence instead of Wan-Bissaka, and if you look at Bournemouth's fixture today, they are playing West Ham away. Yes, Bournemouth's away record isn't great. However, West Ham are a disorganised team right now. They're not as good as what they were. So I think that Bournemouth have every chance of keeping a clean sheet. So that's why I put Daniels in. Into my midfield, I've stuck with Salah. And if you watched my last video, you already know that I've gone with him as my vice captain, not my main captain. The reason being is that I think the Crystal Palace would be a lot harder than people think they're going to be. I don't think that Liverpool are going to win like 4-0 like I did against West Ham last week. So I think that he's going to be, he's going to get points, but I don't think that he'll get as many as, for example, Aguero, who I've gone with my captain. In the middle, I'm going to keep faith with Eriksen. Reason being is that they've got Fulham today at home. It should be an easy game for Spurs, and they should really win this. And I'm hoping that Eriksen maintains. He was really unlucky not to get any sort of serious points last week because he was involved in everything for Spurs, and he was kind of curating everything. He had a couple of good opportunities, got a bit unlucky on some. So I think that against Fulham at home today, Spurs are going to have way too much for them, and I think that Eriksen's going to be essential to that, and I think it's going to be a really crucial player. Next, the person I subbed in for De Bruyne is Bernardo Silva. He's guaranteed to start now because De Bruyne is injured. And last week he was central to a lot of Man City's good play. Came up with the second goal, which kind of killed off the game when Arsenal are actually starting to look good and look like it might come back into the game. So I think that he today against Huddersfield, he's going to have a field day because Huddersfield don't look that good based off of what I saw against Chelsea last week. So it'll be interesting to see how he does today. But I'm going to take the blind faith of what everyone else is doing, basically on FPL, because most people who started with Bernardo Silva, they got repaid nicely last week. I'm going to kind of follow the crowd in this one. It wasn't a player that I originally was looking at or wanting to put on my team, but since the news of De Bruyne has gone and the fact that Man City have got a good start, so I want to have 3 Man City players in my team, he's going to be a straight swap for De Bruyne. Next, Neves, keeping Neves in the team. He did well for me last week. I'm hoping he's going to do well again this week against Leicester, who are always good for conceding goals. So I hope that he will be sort of central in the midfield or trying to get some points. Hopefully he can get a couple of free kicks maybe near the edge of the box and try and reproduce that magic goal that he did last week against Everton. So I have good faith that today he's going to get some good points. Up front, sticking with Aguero, put him in my captain. If you watch my video that I released last night, then you'll see that my reasons for doing that. And I think that today is a very good opportunity for him to get 1 or 2 goals. I think he's going to be hungry to get goals because he didn't score last week. He wants to get his FPL campaign off and running. So I think today we could see the real Aguero come out, especially against a Huddersfield side who just probably aren't going to be able to cope with the attacking presence of Man City, especially if they have Mendy or Bernardo Silva like last week bombing forward and creating lots in the midfield. Next, Firmino. I mean, obviously, Firmino is probably going to be in my team most of the season. I really like him. I think he's always in the build-up play for any of the attacks in Liverpool. He has a good partnership with Salah. And even though I don't think that Liverpool are going to beat Crystal Palace so comfortably, I think the Firmino, if there is going to be any goal-mouth action or any goals or anything, he's going to be central to that, whether it be assist or anything like that. So he's good, good for picking up a couple of bonus points as well. So that's what I've gone for Firmino. And Wilson. This is mostly because West Ham looked very disjointed last week. Their defence looked shaky. And Wilson, he picked up himself a goal and an assist last week. Did really well for Bournemouth. Considering his price tag of only 6, I thought I could swap him in for Camara and see how he does this week. And because I have done that free hit, it means that, for example, if Bernardo Silva, Wilson, or Robertson, if none of them perform, then I have the option to then sub them out. Well, they're going to be subbed back out anyway. And then I can pick and choose which one I want to bring in because I still have De Bruyne, so I'm going to have to swap him out next game week anyway. But I'll be able to see the performances this week, have 1 more week's worth of data in terms of knowing who's doing well, and then I'll be able to make that decision later on. So that's the reason that I've taken this free hit, because I think it's a good time to not be too rash in making the transfer permanent. On my bench, I've gone Stecklenburg. I don't think he's going to play, but because Pickford's going to be playing, but he's a cheap option for the bench. Kante, he's going to be a long-term player, I think, for me because of his value. It actually went up by 1. Oh no, it stayed the same. Sorry, his price stayed at 5. He looked good last week. He's been giving a more attacking role, so it will be a player that I'm probably going to keep in my team for such a low price. Someone like Neves as well. See how he gets on. And if anything goes wrong with them, there are quite a lot of options at this kind of 5 million rating that you can swap them in for. We look at Wan-Bissaka. Apart from this fixture against Liverpool, after that he's got Watford, Southampton, Huddersfield, Newcastle, which is a very nice 4 fixtures. I think he'll be going straight back into my team after the Liverpool game because I think that he could be picking up quite a few points against those kind of teams. And then Bednarik, he's just a bench warmer for me, just low price. Don't think he's going to do much for me in this game. He's just there just to make up the numbers because he's so cheap. I am, though, thinking about, because I don't think that Bednarik is going to play much this season, I am thinking about maybe transferring in a player that I talked about in my video last night, and that is Cardiff City's defensive player, this guy here, Lee Peltier. He's guaranteed to start. He's played 90 minutes in the last game. Away from home, Cardiff don't look that good, and I don't think they're going to do that well this season, to be honest. But at home last season in the Championship, they had one of the best defensive records. Actually, they had the best defensive record. They kept a lot of clean sheets. I think about 11 clean sheets at home, and also only conceded like 16 goals. So they could have quite a few games this season where they get quite a few clean sheets. So he might be able to pick up quite a few points. Considering his price of only 4, he could be a good option. It also means that his price isn't going to drop potentially if he does well, because if he's only 4, whereas if go back to my team, if we look at Bednarik, if he just constantly doesn't play, his price is just going to go down. So there's a good shout to swap them out. Anyway, that's my final team for game week 2. I really hope that Aguero steps up this week and gets me a lot of points as my captain, and I really hope that I don't eat my words and Salah gets a hat-trick, for example, because that would be really annoying. I also hope that Eriksen steps up this week and gets an assist or a goal or whatever. And obviously I'm looking for Robertson and Mendy to continue that form going into game week 2. Anyway, so thanks for joining me for this FPL live video. I hope you enjoyed it, and good luck to everyone in the FPL this weekend, and I hope you enjoy the football. Okay.